just because this, little savage child that happens to be mine is losing their stuff at me.
Savage is a great
and
word.
I've done nothing. It's not about that. At that point in time, they have this massive build-up that either they let it go or they're going to bottle it up.
Yeah.
And one thing we don't want is bottling it up. We see too much of that later in life for people.
Yes.
So the first thing I do is I remind myself that this is not about me. Then I go, okay, take a breath.
Is that for you or the kid?
No, me.
Oh, you. Yeah,
Me.
good.
'Cause
Hello and welcome to another episode of Faark The Shoulds podcast. I am Jodi from QuantiMama.
And I'm McGill from QuantiPapa.
You are. Hi, McGill.
Hello. It's a welcome back moment, isn't it?
It is a welcome back moment. It's always a beautiful thing to be in conversation with you.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you. Okay, so that all sounds overly formal, like we've only just met, and we're not doing any of that nonsense. I want to talk about having strong family dynamics, and it's perfect timing, in fact, because throwing my phone around. Don't do that. I promise I'm not scrolling, but I just got the most beautiful message this morning. Hey Jodi, I just wanted to say what beautiful children you have. They were so great yesterday, mature, capable, polite, and so helpful. And one thing I did was I obviously responded and said thank you so much for that lovely message, but I said they're a credit to themselves. I don't tend to take credit for the kids like that because I also don't take responsibility for when they're being, number one, shitheads, as they sometimes can be when the kids are... true. Pushing the boundaries and things. But it's something that's often reflected back to us that our kids are just a certain type that actually elicits that unprovoked or unprompted reflection. So people often want to say that to us about our kids. And what I do think is the case, which is what I want to talk about today, and I will let you speak at some point, you are not mute in this, is how we have fostered consciously and subconsciously and unconsciously very strong bonds of affection within our family, like how we have created those strengths, the bonds of strength within that, and what that even looks like on a sort of daily basis, like some of the things that we do that maybe create opportunity for people to think about how they're doing it. And I actually think, because the kids that had that beautiful unprompted compliment offered to them are now 15 and 13. So, they're potentially in that age where I think people make assumptions around teenagers and how teenagers sometimes behave and, where their heart and intention is. So,
and what they're willing to do and how they actually interact with people and adults. And I guess this year has been a very confirming year for us for many reasons. As our beautiful listeners will know, we've ticked off a couple of milestones. We have a child now who's 18. Which,
the best. 5-star review for having an 18-year-old.
We also had our 20-year wedding anniversary and we reconfirmed signed on again for another 20 years.
Yes, renegotiated the terms of engagement.
We did.
Correct.
But this is just the next extension or the next step. There are probably lots of things that we have consciously, and you said and subconsciously done that have led to a very tight-knit relationship between ourselves, but also between our children, and then how our children interact with the rest of the world. And it's true, we do get some amazing feedback of our kids. And from a parenting point of view, it's sort of nice to go, you sort of give yourself a little pat on the back, but ultimately the buck stops with them. And how they choose to interact. And I remember and I can't remember who brought it to us, but as when we had younger kids, and someone had said to us, your children and people in general save their worst behaviour for where they feel the safest. And you're right, because we do get the other side of that behaviour from our children, and most parents do.
Yes.
And it's hard sometimes when you're in the midst of being
the primary carer.
Yeah, being a primary carer.
Or being the punching bag.
Being the punching bag as a parent and trying
to... soft landing space, I think, is how we would phrase it.
Yeah, and trying to hold a non-judgmental space so that your child can work through whatever is really deep down in there, so they can get through those layers and get that out so it doesn't become a recurring thing. It's
funny because in ambulance, and I'm sure there was probably a policing term for... or reference for what you guys would have used as well, but in ambulance we would have to remind ourselves that we see 5% of the population 95% of the time. So that is those people that are on lots of medications, that have lots of comorbidities, and so basically just a lot of medical shit going on that basically tips them into a place of dis-ease, and their health pie has been carved up more than they probably would like. And I think that same thing can happen with kids, right? As you say, if you're seeing them, if you're their soft place to land and you get them tired when they have held, the facade up for the entire day, and then they basically drop everything as they get home, and you get that version of them. And that is where the majority of that connection time is spent. Then essentially you're experiencing that version of your child 95% of the time, and it can be, I think, this nasty situation where you end up assuming that's what your child's like 100% of the time, and they're obviously not. And
look, that's a really timely, a great thing to remember, and maybe we have a unique perspective. I was taken aside very early on in my working career in almost exactly the same thing. I was told you will deal with 5% of the population 95% of the time. Don't forget the 95%. And that was something that landed with me when I was probably in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And I always tried to keep that perspective that there's a huge, amazing, beautiful community out there of people, and we don't necessarily interact with them in those moments. Their crisis moments aren't quite as public, and they don't necessarily need the immediate help, or if they do, they come to that help with an expectation of getting help instead of with resistance.
Yeah.
And it was always a good thing to keep that in perspective. And I think when it came to the kids, watching them unravel, which is hard because you just want to, save them from that. And then learning,
you want your own comfort. Like, you actually don't want to listen to the tantrum either.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of that. But then learning how to hold that space over the years to let them unravel and let them finish what they need to do, and then to hold them when they come back out the other side. I think it, for us, has morphed into these children that are very well developed, very in touch with their feelings, and very considerate of other people's feelings.
Yes, they are.
And then as a result of that, they're happy to put forward one of the best versions of themselves into the world, because they know that there's a safe place that they can come home to and they can talk it out. And they have morphed from that real unravelling of pure energy to a bit of moderation with that, but they're happy to come home and speak their truth.
I think they also know that if we're with them, they can actually unravel wherever they are. They actually don't have to bottle it up. And I suspect that for a lot of even adults now, that's been their childhood. Like, they've had the experience of, basically bottling things up. And so then they become this pressure pot, and we have made it very... very supportive for them to move whatever is coming up for them wherever they are, as long as there feels like an appropriate way to support them in that. Like that happens every time Quanti 4 loses his shit on the basketball court, right? And he's actually matured beyond that because we're into third year of basketball or something.
Yep.
And, he used to come off crying in frustration when it was just going sideways for him, very hard on himself. And, I just held that space. And in fact, before I want to go even further, what I want to do is just help. Look, you guys might have your own understanding of this, but I find this holding space to be such a bloody new agey kind of word that people don't really understand what that means. And I know that when we did our potty on circle life, what it is to be in circle, or what we would call men's gatherings as square, but men's square and women's circle, when you're in those spaces, you get proficient at holding space, don't you? Mm. And so when you say holding space, how do you do that? Like what's your playbook?
So the first thing I do is I remind myself that what's occurring at that moment is not about me. Mm. So for want of a better description, I put my ego aside. Mm. Just because this, little savage child that happens to be mine is losing their stuff at me.
Savage is a great
and
word.
I've done nothing. It's not about that. Mm. At that point in time, they have this massive build-up that either they let it go or they're going to bottle it up.
Yeah.
And one thing we don't want is bottling it up. We see too much of that later in life for people.
Yes.
So the first thing I do is I remind myself that this is not about me. Mm. Then I go, okay, take a breath.
Is that for you or the kid?
No, me.
Oh, you. Yeah, good.
Because I can still, get pretty riled up when I need to.
Yeah. So if we're talking sciencey, you're actually regulating your nervous system.
Yeah.
As well. So you use breath for that. So you take a breath and you ground yourself in that moment.
Yeah, and so that's the first part of it. Mm. And I go, okay, what is actually being said? Mm. What is the real problem here? Mm. Because I know it's not about me, even if I'm the one that might be at, point blank copying the barrage. So what's happened? And over the years I developed better. I try not to ask questions in that initial phase of unleashing because all that does is then give them a focal point. Yeah. And it's funny because it's a attack comms thing that I've used for many years where we don't try and engage where we know that the person is then going to suddenly become focused on us and then we become the enemy as opposed to someone who's hopefully there to be able to assist.
Right.
So it's not about me. I've taken my breath. I'm now using my active listening skills and just letting it play out.
What does active listening mean?
So it means listening to what they're saying for me in this moment and putting thought into, okay, what have they done today? What's occurred? Okay, this has happened. And then let them burn and let them burn bright. And
so I would call that, so I'm just trying to paraphrase into ways that, so we've all got a way to hook into this. I might call that being present and curious.
Yeah, and that's it. So that level of curiosity is trying to find out what's underneath this.
Yeah.
Where has this come from? And it might trigger something that happened a few weeks ago and brings a memory up, or it might have occurred during a day, and let them get it out. It's not, it's not necessarily nice to hear sometimes, and it's not necessarily nice to feel that level of negativity or emotion that's going on, but that stuff clears quick.
Yeah.
And then so as they move through and get past that initial barrage, then it's a matter of judging what they need. So as our kids have got older, we've both gotten much better at when they get to a point saying to them, do you want a hug?
Yeah.
Because we're not buying into what's happening. We're not judging what's happening. We're not trying to solve what's happening. We're saying we are here for you.
We're also not distracting them from that share is what I'll call it, right? Even if it's heightened and it's actually they're burning hot, it's not actually going to be something where I think there's a lot of effort on parents' part that creates what would I call it? Like comfort for ourselves, where we look to either solve the issue or distract the child, right? Because we don't know what it is to hold space, and it feels ugly. It feels uncomfortable to actually hold the space because you're witnessing your child in pain. There's also the distress of all the kind of big emotions that are coming through and how angsty it is. You also might feel a little bit impotent to actually fix it because maybe it's coming from friendship circles or school or some other, outside influence. And so I think a lot of that discomfort is about us making ourselves feel comfortable in our role as a parent. So you haven't talked about any of that kind of stuff, and I know you haven't talked about it because we don't do it, right?
Yeah.
So what happens on the other side when you don't distract or solve your child's emotional release?
It depends on a child. But what I guess I've noticed over the time, especially the older, Q1, Q2, probably Q3, they tend to like to get this information out and then they want to get away from where that information is. So it might be that hug and then they might choose to remove themselves to their own space.
Yep.
So for them, that would be their room. It could be some music for a little while. It could just be a little bit of quiet time and letting them have that. And then it's always the hardest part, and the hardest part as a parent is when you're going to broach that subject again and re-engage in hopefully a fruitful and meaningful conversation.
Yeah.
Q1 now will happily take himself outside and ground himself. He will walk around on the grass out front of the house, barefoot, and he will come back in and he will regulate it. It's amazing. He'll regulate his emotions that way. It's like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
How amazing
Actually,
is that?
QuantiKid 3 does it too. Even being 13 years old, he seems to have that appreciation of, how he can regulate with the earth energies, which is pretty cool because I need that reminding sometimes.
And this is the thing, once they've burnt through that first sort of stuff, people, even other adults and friends, once they've gotten through that, the last thing you want them to do is carry shame about what's happened.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to reach out and engage them in a conversation where they're at. So you're not going in there saying, well, you said this and you said that.
Yeah. You
want to just go, look, had that bit of physical contact or that cuddle at the end or partway through and you've had a bit of time, would you like to, have a bit of a conversation about it, or do you just want to come and sit down and have some dinner and remind them that life is still there, the level of love and care hasn't changed, and then engage them as they're ready to. And with our kids now, quite often they will come back to us after a period of time themselves. Yeah. And I think it was Q1 did it the other night. We'd cooked dinner. We'd set aside time. We're having a beautiful family dinner. Yeah. And I'd said to them, it was a beautiful piece of steak, and he's gone inside and he's promptly turned around and it's shot off his plate and it's hit the ground. And that obviously just compounded his day for the day.
I think that completed what had been happening.
And now that he's 18, he's entitled to have a mantrum, which we've spoken about before.
That's right. We love a mantrum.
And he did.
Yeah.
And he was pretty snarky and probably didn't help that his siblings thought it was rather amusing.
Of course.
And he really had his back up and he did for a period of time, but he came back himself and he not only apologised, he spoke about it, had a joke about it. Yeah. And you could tell that he just moved way past where it was, but he just wanted to let everyone know, it was kind of funny. I just didn't want to be the butt of the joke at that point in time.
Which is fair enough when you've had a hard day. So then looking into that, I think there's a number of elements. Obviously the beauty, thank you for explaining how you hold space, and I think I do it very similarly now. But that holding space is part of the fundamentals for a strong family, I think. And one of the things you also mentioned was about the fact that we were having a family dinner. Now, that's something that I think is probably a little bit more uncommon in today's very busy, over-scheduled lives of these modern families, where you have, people going every which way, and then we've got the pervasive effects of technology. So we're pretty unusual. We don't have a TV at all, but probably most people don't have TVs, to be honest. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. But we never had a TV on during dinner time either. So when we had a TV that was in the kind of dining living space, we never had the TV on during dinner time. And so we have made it our commitment to have family dinners wherever possible, even if it means we're waiting a bit longer than we normally would for dinner. That's been something that's been really important to us, hasn't it?
It has. And getting back to the very start of the topic, talking about bonds of affection.
Yeah.
And you need to look back and look into your own childhood.
Yeah.
And go, what worked there? What were the things that were done when I was 5, 10, 15 that I remember? What were those things? Because the need for those things hasn't changed. I remember that we would, especially as we got older and we were at high school, my sister and I would cook dinner on a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday night, and we would have it on the table at 4:50. So Dad would come off the bus 5 minutes before that. He'd walk in the house. He'd get changed because we were always out at sport. We were one of those super busy families. Come and sit down. Mum would get home at 5 o'clock. We would sit down at 5 o'clock. We would all eat dinner together, and then generally Dad and I would be off for the evening for what we had on. Mum and my sister would be off for what she had on. But just about every night we would sit down together and have a meal. And
so it is possible in a busy family.
It is possible. It's challenging, and it's not, probably to be honest these days, it's not going to happen every day.
No, but I think if you could still make it enough of a thing where you could, you could actually be intentional about the way that you gather together. It is an important thing. And I think one of the things we don't do is have technology at the table. So like that becomes in itself, it's basic, but it's also, it has reverence for the fact that there is a gathering there. It's the only meal, obviously, we gather as a family together.
And we're basing that, the meal is the excuse to be together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just remember that in the back of your head. Take away the meal and be together.
Yeah.
And the value is still there.
Yeah. So what is it in your family that you could create as a meaningful way of gathering?
Yeah. And for generations, it's been the family meal, because you sit down, you have the meal, you talk to one another, you interact with one another, you find out what's been happening. Try to avoid that boring question of what did you do at school today if you've got children at school, or reframe it a different way and have some meaningful interaction. So for me, growing up, it was always having that family meal, and I would still crave that. When I was into my 20s and still at home, I would still sit down most nights with my parents and have dinner. And it was a level of interaction. So that was something that for me was very important as a child, and it's something that we've then brought forward into our operating system.
Yeah.
And for me, it allowed a real strength of feeling safe and a bond of affection with my parents that I probably wouldn't have had. And then for you and I, we've been shift workers for a long time. We've been ships in the night where, you'll get up and go to work and I'll get home from work and hop into the bed that you were in and it will still be warm from you, but then I'll be up and gone when you're back.
Yeah.
So we've always had that need to have time where we connect. And I think
so it becomes a choice thing. There's an intention around it.
There is.
And that brings reverence in as well. I just want to reflect on a couple of other things I think what I notice in our family, and it's not a comparison piece, it's just about when I look at it almost like from a forensic point of view, what do we do that continues to strengthen family bonds? Something that came up the other day is and one of the things we've talked about is, about words being your bond as well, right? So
your word is your bond.
Your word is your bond. So if you say you're going to do something, it's part of that radical self-responsibility. If you say you're going to do something, then you do it, right? Now, I've found increasingly that I am busy on technology of some description, and I'm loving what I'm doing, but I'm not as present, right? And so I had to have this conversation with the kids around QK4 is really wanting to expand his English skills, and so that requires time, right? But I'm not present for enough of the time, so we've got to find ways to consolidate it. And I literally was having a conversation with one of the other kids the other day, and they were saying to me, "You really need to create space for this, Mum." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, but we live in community, so how else can the community support me?" And I meant the community of the family. And what came out organically from that is that two of the kids put their hands up to actually do that sort of practice with QuantiKid 4 so that he got his needs met, because he's craving that, and I didn't have to be the one. And it took me...
Well, you also got your need met.
Yeah.
Because you've got a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah.
You're pushing your new business out there, and it requires you.
That's right.
And for the moment, the you needs to be focused on yourself.
That's right. And so it can't always be... I think sometimes what happens, particularly for mothers, we play this saviour piece where it comes down to us, and I always remember that... what's that phrase? Well, you're a martyr, basically. So you say, "Oh, I don't want to have to do all this, but it only falls to me," right? And I'm always conscious about when is my language falling into that martyrdom, and how can I, get myself out of that martyr space, particularly with the kids. And so sometimes that's part of my tantrum with the kids, and I'll say, it can't just be me. Like, how else do we do this? And so I think what's happened is because the word being your bond and showing up when you say you're going to show up has been something that we have tried to do consistently. What's happened now is the kids can see, all right, when mum or dad are got their full bandwidth basically occupied with whatever is going on, that they will now step into that space of support as well. And I think that what happens is that when you don't always be the saviour in your family, you create space for someone else who wouldn't ordinarily be that person to step into that role. And that is powerful for the kids, because firstly, you're not saving them from, and almost pigeonholing them into the role that they have, assigned for themselves in the family. You're actually giving them spaciousness to see who's going to step into that role to support each other. And it can sometimes be quite surprising on who that is. I mean, QuantiKid 3 has stepped into that role more times than I would have predicted.
Yep, definitely. And so what I would say with that is you're just creating opportunity.
Yeah.
You're actually going, and you're also putting your hand up, admitting you're human and saying, I need help. Yeah. And we don't do that. And that's been one of the other things that I've been amazed at that has made a huge difference is if we look at one another and realise that the other party needs help, we offer it. Yeah. And that's something that our children have got. And they've done a bit of work, I guess, in the retail sort of hospo sort of space, just locally. And they step into that role so beautifully because they wish to help. Yeah. They're bright kids, they can learn stuff quickly, but their frequency they're giving out is that they're here to help. The other thing, I guess, looking back at the bonds of affection, because we do have very strong bonds of affection in our family, and we have an extremely strong bond of affection.
Yes, for at least the next 20 years anyway.
Well, we've signed up. So we'll squeeze at least 40 out of this life.
That's it.
And then the kids see that as an example. Yeah. And we let them know that, we need to look out for one another. We need to help one another. We need to be there for one another. And I guess to some degree, without intentionally doing it, we've created an expectation on them that firstly, you're safe to come here and unravel if you need to. Secondly, you're safe to just be in this space and exist as you need to. Thirdly, there's opportunity there in this space for you to contribute and assist to the best of your abilities.
Yeah.
Then
we don't infantilize the kids, because in fact what happens is you've got them at a certain age and you assume they don't have capacity for that, but until you test that you actually don't know. So you don't choose high stakes things necessarily to start out on, but you have to give the opportunity for the kids to show up in a way that they know they have capacity for, or maybe they don't know but they want to give it a go to, right? Rather than pigeonholing them just because they're a certain age.
But a real world example of that with our children from a young age is we've worked with them so that they can make biscuits.
Yeah.
So snacks.
Yeah.
They can make this, and that's growing into taking responsibility for dinner. Tonight, QK3 put his hand up and said, I'll do dinner tonight.
Yeah.
And we're like, do you need anything? He went and checked the fridge, checked the recipe. He goes, no, got it sorted.
Right.
And you go, that's pretty amazing for a 13-year-old, particularly a male. Yeah. Because we cannot necessarily be as switched on to those things. But here's an opportunity. Yeah. And but this isn't an opportunity that we've suddenly turned around to him and gone, you're cooking dinner tonight, kid. And we've never shown him how to chop up an apple. Yeah. You know, it's been that involvement and that consistent being a part of our children's lives and building up their skills, and then allowing them a chance to express it within our framework. Yeah. And everybody's got their own framework. Yeah. Or their own things that work for them. And then round it goes. I mean, I've had a couple of other things. I went for a run recently, and QK 1 and 3 came with me, and they've never come running with me before. And it was amazing. It was this real joy for me of running with a couple of my boys. Yeah. And then I had a workout session with QK1, who's recently qualified in that world. And we did a workout session together where he said to me, "I know you lead the workout, Dad." Yeah. I'm like, "But I'm the old man in the room, and you're young and fully qualified." But we did a workout together. Yeah. And that connection time is probably starting to morph a little bit more again as our kids grow, as they take more responsibility, as they change. Yeah. We're allowing them to change, so our interactions and our support networks need to change as well.
Yeah, and I think we find things that we're both interested in, because I always remember one of the kids was doing footy, and they were like, how come you don't come and watch my games, but you go and watch, the other one's basketball games? I'm like, well, because I like basketball and I really can't stand footy. So, I'm not here. You're doing that for you, and I will convey you to said sport, but I'll only participate in things that I actually really am interested in. So I don't do that self-sacrificing stuff that I think a lot of parents can do, and it can build resentment if you're not really mindful around that, and that starts weakening the family bonds within that, because there is an unspoken energetic transaction that happens within that of, I'm being of service watching your bloody football game when I would rather be doing XYZ. And I decided to be more honest, and we also Faark The Shoulds. It would be a should to go there.
But within that exact framework you're talking about, I love sport. Yeah. So I was more than happy when I was around to take that, because I enjoy being there. I like, doing that.
And I loved you more for doing it, can I just say?
How is that possible?
I know. So, what I want to do is just bring this into some sort of neat finish, in the sense that I love a takeaway. I love a souvenir, right, from any conversation. So what I'd love to do is just invite, say, top 2 or 3 things that you think are either foundations or ways in which to strengthen family bonds. If we've got, parents out there in our community that are feeling like, I'm feeling really distant from my child, and this can really happen in the teenage years. So one thing I would say is, if technology is gripping your family, and particularly your teenager, and you feel like you need to try some kind of surgical amputation to get them away from their device, then add something new that you both might like, that then you set the ground rules that there is no technology, right? Mm-hmm. And don't put too much pressure on how that unfolds, but one thing we do is family games. Yep. Like we do card games. I bloody love card games. They're so much fun. So we do that. There is no technology there, So that becomes something, or, whatever it might be. It might be going for a walk together or, going and kicking the footy down at the Oval, or something really simple that doesn't have to cost money. I would recommend adding something. Don't try and change what you already do, because that creates resistance and a feeling that doesn't feel safe, because it feels like there's deprivation there. But there's an opportunity definitely to just value add to your life. And then once they create a sense of safety and trust in that, they'll look for more of it.
Well, okay. Well, you just brought up one of the words that I'm going to use.
Yep.
And that purely and simply is safety. And whatever age your kids are at, if they're younger, get started now. If they're older, work on it. I want my children and my wife to always feel safe and secure and open to come to me with anything. Absolutely anything, which has been a real growth phase for me, because I've always, you call me a prude quite often.
Lovingly.
But to know that no matter what it is, no matter what gets put before them, even if it's something that I've done, I want you to feel safe enough to come and talk to me about it, so that we have the chance to bond and move that emotion and move forward together safely, especially teenagers, because you do not know a lot of what's going on in their head. We've all been there. We've all had dark thoughts, challenging thoughts, but safety for me.
Oh, I think that's so beautiful. All right, there's probably more to say on this, but we're going to leave it there today. Quanta folks, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute treat. As always, McGill, final thought?
Just, have a great day. Be safe. Create that for people.
Be safe, but go be creative as well and get into the unknown.
When you feel safe, you'll throw yourself in there.
That's true, actually. That's right. It's a safety within the cells of the body, and that's where we take our big leaps from, don't we?
Okay.
Beautiful Quanta folks. See you next time.
Bye.
Hey Quanta folks, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Birth is transformational. And it can be transformational in the right way and in the not so right way. So how do we arm ourselves to be really prepared for this incredible experience? Well, you wouldn't go out and run a marathon without any kind of training. You'd at least do occasional stretches, and the High Vibe Birth course, which is self-paced, available at the QuantiMama.com website, is available for you. You get to luxuriate in all of the ideas and transformational techniques and the beautiful information that can only have a positive effect on your birth. So get fit for your birth marathon and head to QuantiMama for the High Vibe Birth course. Beautiful Quanta folks. You know, at QuantiMama, we have a mandate that we feel so passionate about. We want and we are raising the community's vibration and frequency and consciousness through parenting and birth experiences. Such incredible, transformational experiences that will shape you as a person and are the very fabric of life. Do you want to find out how to high vibe your experience even more? Then QuantiMama is your place. Head there for the High Vibe Birth course, ultimate preparation for birthing. Head there if you want to re-engage your child in the love of learning for the Take the Leap course, which is a deschooling course for parents. There's beautiful mind movies, and obviously this podcast is there, and we are here to support you. So head there for all the juice.